Welcome to the Cardinal Report. Thanks for stopping by. The winter athletics season is in full swing, and we're here to bring it to you each and every week. Today's show is dedicated to the men's basketball program, one that has had trouble finding its footing this season after reaching the National D3 Final Four last year. But first, let's talk wrestling. North Central had one dual meet this past week, and it didn't start smoothly. North Central dropped its first two matches, including the 5th loss of the season for Leighton Binion at 133 pounds. The National Wrestling Coaches Association poll ranks Binion 6th in the nation in that class. But the Cards didn't give up. Down 9-0 in team scoring, NCC won 5 of its next 6 matches, including Josh Tardy's 26th win of the year at 157 pounds. Dylan Mahler capped off the 25-15 team win with his 23rd win of the season at 285 pounds. Wrestling now sits at 5-5. They only won 4 matches last season. After being on the show last week, the women's basketball team hosted Augustana College. In a back-and-forth game, North Central came up just short against a Viking squad near the bottom of the CCIW standings. Despite a halftime lead, the Cards gave up an 11-1 run in the final moments, securing the 101-91 victory for Augustana. That set up a pivotal game against Elmhurst College, one of the better teams in the conference. We have the highlights from that game later on in the show. Heading into this past week, men's basketball was in a rut. The team opened its CCIW schedule at 1-2, headed into a midweek home tilt against Augustana College, ranked 13th in the nation by D3Hoops.com. Things did not go as planned. NCC scored a season low of 50 points. It was the team's 3rd straight loss and 5th in the last 6 games. The Vikings were led by Hunter Hill with 16 points, but no other Augie player scored in double figures. The good news was Landon Gamble's game high of 19 points were good enough to move him into 5th place on North Central's career scoring list, passing 1970 graduate Gary Groharing. 3 days later, North Central matched up with the resurgent Elmhurst College program. At 1-3 in the CCIW and the toughest part of its schedule up next, NCC needed this game. Down by 3 at the half, the Cards rode a strong second-half effort from sharpshooter Vince Kmiec. 9 of his game-high 24 points came on the charity stripe. He also played the full 40 minutes. With a 72-64 win, North Central now sits at 2-3 in the CCIW and within striking distance for the 4th spot in the conference. After this quick break, we're joined by head coach Todd Raridon to talk about his ever-evolving team of young and old. And later, guards Vince Kmiec and Tyler Sutton stop by to give us a first-hand account of the very tough CCIW. More Cardinal Report coming your way next.
Yes, ready. Go get it.
Oh, come on, Randy. Animal shelter, here I come. And no, I'm not crazy or emotionally damaged. That's a stereotype. I just belong to a total loser. I'm a good dog. So if you want a pet, adopt. And if you see Randy, tell him he dropped his wallet.
Welcome back to the Cardinal Report, joined now by head coach Todd Raridon. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Let's get into it a little bit here. First, before we get into this season, I want to reflect a little bit on last year because we haven't spoken to you in a while. A Final Four appearance, it was just a fantastic season. Now that you've had months to reflect on the season, what do you think last year meant for this program?
Well, it meant a great deal. I haven't had a whole lot of time here lately to think about that, but I thought that our kids really came together and we made a terrific stretch run. Had some games at home, obviously helps. We had our crowd, and I think our kids fed off that home court advantage in the crowd, and it was fun. It was disappointing we did not make the championship game. We were close, got lost to Amherst in a close game. That could have went either way, and they ended up winning the national championship. So we felt like we were right there and just didn't get it done. Well,
I guess if you're going to lose to anyone, at least you could say that you went out to the champs. Fast forward a little bit to this season and to this past Saturday where you're unveiling the Final Four banner, kind of a funny moment where you had your 2 seniors from last year, Derek Raridon and Aaron TIKNIS, pulling down the banner. Oh, the rope rips.
Yeah.
Kind of a funny moment there. But still, really, this was a game that you needed on Saturday against Elmhurst, well, and yeah.
It was. You know, I've been stressing 4 years for those two guys to get in the weight room, and now that they graduated, they finally got in the weight room, and they were too strong and pulled the rope too hard. So, but it was a game that we needed to, you know, against Elmhurst. We needed the win. Needed the win for our kids. You know, I think their heads were down a little bit because they'd had a tough stretch here. Against some good teams. I mean, our conference is extremely powerful, I think, top to bottom, and Elmhurst is much improved from they were a year ago, and I thought our kids really hung in there, especially second half when we got down, I think 3 or 5, something like that, and I thought our kids really hung in there, and a couple guys stepped up and made some plays for us and turned the momentum back to our way.
Absolutely. Landon had 15 points in the first half, Landon Gamble, and then you had Vince Kmiec come through with a huge second half, really helped you guys with that 15-4 run in the second half, which really moved you towards that W. What was said at halftime to kind of spur the guys on into that second half run?
You know, I don't know. I don't remember now, but I don't think it was anything inspirational by any means. But you know, I think that basically was that they weren't running anything different than what we thought they were going to run. Elmhurst wasn't. It was more of our execution. You know, we were playing the first half without Jack BURCHETT because of foul trouble, and Landon was carrying us the first half. The second half, Landon got in foul trouble, and I thought Jack came in and did a nice job. He was well rested because he didn't get a chance to play but 4 minutes, I think, the first half. And so between Jack and Vince stepping up and hitting shots from the outside made a tremendous, you know, improvement for our team offensively. And at the defensive end, we created turnovers, and that was the biggest thing in my mind, was the turnovers and our ability to rebound.
So that was a 72-64 win over Elmhurst. It was a big win. Last week we had women's basketball on with a men's highlight. This week we're flipping things around again. We're back with more men's basketball in a minute, but first let's check in on the women and see how they did in an important conference battle also against Elmhurst College.
Bobby Johns and the rest of the Cardinals want to dribble past the competition and jump closer to 500 in CCIW play. In their way is Elmhurst College. The Blue Jays 10-5 on the season. Melanie Schwardman dropping about 15 points a game. We start just 3 minutes into the game. Johns draining a long-distance shot to put NCC within one. And that three-point shot, well, that's a trend in this game. Kelsey Cooling from way back there. Then Kim Wilson on the near side. All adds together to build a 25-17 lead. Cards connect on 10 triples in the first half. 7 minutes and change left before halftime. Blue Jays keep things close. First, it's Nikki Moan to pull within 3. About a minute later, Kim Schwardman, Melanie's sister, contorts her body to drop the layup and keep the deficit at 3. North Central up 49-43 at the half. 9 minutes left. Elmhurst finally draws even. Nifty dime from Kalia Summerlin to Mel Schwardman. Game high 22 points, 75 all. North Central only up by 4 with about 4 minutes left, but then it all starts to click for NCC. Lauren Hernandez with a nice drop-off bounce pass of her own to Yuzuri Williams. Next possession, Hernandez again playing the point guard role. The pass over her own head finds Marissa Cladis. Her shot finds the bottom of the net. 3 minutes left, Wilson puts the game away. The final of her 5 three-pointers and the final of the team's 17. Tied for second most, the team's put down in a game this season. Cards finished the game on a 28-10 run.
So, Coach, coming up is basically, I mean, this is going to be probably the most difficult part of the schedule this season. Coming up on the 22nd, travel to Wesleyan on the 25th against Wheaton in Wheaton. They just fell out of the top 25. And on the 29th, you head over to Augie to face the 13th ranked Vikings. So really, this is the toughest part of the schedule. What's your mindset going into this very tough road trip here?
Well, mindset is we have the ability to win every game we play. And we're going to have to play well. We know that. We have to probably, you know, from a defensive standpoint, play as well as we've played. And at the same time, offensively, we need more than just 2 guys to step up and make plays. We have to have everybody on the floor, everybody scoring for us, everybody moving the basketball, everybody setting the screens, rebounding, all the little things that are involved in it. There's no doubt that we can't win those games. There's no game that's easy in our conference, whether it's at home or on the road.
Sure.
But yet, you know, our kids have been through this before. You know, we have three of our starters have been in this, have been battle tested, and we just have to. They need to raise their play, I guess, would be the best way to put it. Just a little bit more for us, and then bring a couple of those guys along that haven't been battle tested.
But you did have some great seniors last year. You have some pretty good ones this year as well. How much game plan do you put into making sure that these seniors are the ones that are kind of carrying the load, or when you come out of timeouts, you're trying to maybe get some of these younger players involved as well?
Most of it has been put on our inside game and Landon and Jack, and we're hoping that pressure inside will open up our perimeter, open up Vince. Like I said earlier, that Vince is really seeing their best perimeter defensive player. Maybe a year ago, that wasn't the case. Now he is. So now he has to get himself open, work that much harder to get himself open. He's almost playing 40 minutes, and he's trying to cover their best perimeter defensive player. So it puts a lot of pressure on him. But at the same time, that's, to me, that's why we're trying to get inside, so to relieve some of the pressure for those guards.
Well, throwing it inside to an All-American like Landon Gamble is certainly not a bad way to go. We still have more with head coach Todd Raridon next on the Cardinal Report.
Hi, my name's CJ. A few years ago, my father became seriously ill. I did what I could do before he passed, but it took its toll. I lost my job, my house. I'm getting back on my feet, but I don't know when there'll be food on the table. How'd I do, CJ?
We could be twins.
Well, cousins, maybe.
Play a role in ending hunger. Visit feedingamerica.org/hunger and find your local food bank.
We're back on the Cardinal Report and still with head coach Todd Raridon. Coach, we talked a little bit about the younger players, David Robinson, Kevin Hahn, Tyler Sutton, that are kind of making some waves in the program this year. How do you think that they've come along? We've mentioned that you rely on the seniors to do some of that for you, but how would you gauge the way that these players have kind of come through in some really clutch situations this season?
Well, in some cases they've done extremely well. In other cases they're still young. Tyler is really a sophomore, but he was hurt early in his career last year, so he really is a true freshman. He started a little bit, he had some playing time for us as a freshman, but then was injured and didn't play the rest of the year. He probably played like 5 games maybe for us. So he really, you look back, he's a freshman because he doesn't have the game experience. Kevin Hahn's the same way. He was a sophomore, but he was a JV player for us last year. David Robinson's a true freshman and has no game experience until coming into the college game. So he's adjusting to the college game. I think all 3 of them are adjusting to the college game. It's a lot different covering other guys in practice and now when the lights come on, now you're the guy, one of the main guys. So, I think they're slowly coming along. We'd like to see them further ahead than what we are right now. I think if you rated them, obviously Tyler's probably ahead of the other 2 at this point, but Kevin and David still have to be a big part of what we're doing right now and build to the future as well.
Tyler right now 4th on the team in scoring with just about 9 points a game, so he's definitely come along very nicely. Let's talk about the way you guys have played at home this year. So far this season, 4-4, but in years past, really, you were so good at home. 16-0 last year, the year before that, 13-1. What do you think has been the difference between those 2 seasons and what you've been able to accomplish at home this year?
Well, I think part of that is just the kids that we had probably in our program. We have, like I said, we have some younger kids now in the program. We've brought in a Stevens Point. We didn't bring in a Stevens Point the last 4 years, which is, I think, ranked 1st in the country or something like that. But, I think the quality of our opponents have been a little bit upgraded. Part of that is because we could not find, lesser teams to come in and play at our place because we have been successful. So we bring in a DePaul, a Whitewater. But it's not that this team's not bad. This team is still coming along. They're still a work in progress. And we're trying to get to that level. And I don't think we've even come close. I still think that we have a lot of potential there. And once we reach that potential, we're going to be scary.
And despite an up-and-down season thus far, the Cardinals are hoping to ride a wave of momentum into the conference tournament and beyond. In this week's Cardinal Corner, we explore the similarities between this season and the NCC campaign of 2010-2011.
With the recent success of the North Central men's basketball program, it's almost difficult to remember a time when the team struggled. But you only have to go back 3 seasons, the 2010-2011 campaign. Even though that season ended in a conference tournament semifinal round exit, it started with far more humble beginnings. The team lost its first 4 games, 3 of those at Gregory Arena. And by the time North Central began CCIW play, the team's record sat at 4-6. Assistant coach Aaron TIKNIS was then a sophomore. He says part of the turnaround was based off of friendship and pride.
We had seniors Brian Evans and Mike Winans who really had to hone in to us newcomers to the program that we got to play for them. Got to make sure that this is it. This is all they got. And I think comparing that to this year's team, you have Vince and Pat Rorick and Landon who are the same way.
3 seasons ago, North Central went 11-3 in the CCIW, grabbing a share of the regular season conference crown with Augustana. It was the first conference title since the 1989-1990 season, around the time most of the players on the team were born. Landon Gamble led the team with 14.1 points per game as a freshman, a big reason why NCC turned things around.
I do feel like it's a little bit of the same thing. I mean, that year we like you said, we were struggling. Us as a team, we came together and we were able to rally and come together and talk about it. And that's the same thing we're doing this year. We recently got back together as a team. Did everything that pretty much the same thing we did that year. And right now we're doing good. Right now we're doing better.
A season later, the Cards reached the Sweet 16, and last year, the Final Four. For seniors Gamble, Vince Kmiec, and Pat Rourke, the hope is that the current crop of young players step up their level of play for a conference run similar to 3 years ago, and a run into March.
So, Coach, a couple minutes ago, you were speaking to the fact that the conference has gotten better, and it's been tough this season. I mean, really every team, aside from North Park, which has struggled this season, it's not an easy out. Anytime you play a conference opponent this season, it's going to be a tough matchup. How do you try to raise your players' level of play to match that of your opponent each week?
Well, I think it goes back to the senior leadership. I mean, the guys with the experience have to raise the level of the younger guys and yet raise their own level as well. Mm-hmm. And the combination, hopefully will carry us into some success in the conference. Our goal is to win the conference. We still have that opportunity. Our goal is also to get into the conference tournament. The top 4 go into the conference tournament. That's still a reality, but it's not going to be easy by any means. But at the same time, we have the potential to win every game that's on our schedule right now. But we're going to have to play at a higher level than what we've been playing right now at both ends of the floor, defensively and offensively. We're very capable of doing that. Offensively, I still think we have guys that can score. They just, for whatever reason, haven't been producing like we had hoped to, and we need them to. And hopefully they'll come around. And consistency is the name of the game, night in and night out. And right now we don't have that consistency. Once we have that, then we're going to be pretty tough.
Well, I think you have a fantastic shot at getting into the conference tournament. You're looking at the way the CCIW standings are right now. You have Augie, Wesleyan, and Carthage each at 4-1. At 3-2, there's Wheaton, which you have coming up, and then it's you and Elmhurst at 2-3. So really, you're on the outside, but you have a fantastic shot to get on the inside in the upcoming weeks. I want to talk a little bit about the way the scoring load has worked out this season. You have 15 points a game for Landon Gamble and Vince Kmiec, and then you have some role players pitching in with points here and there. Is this the way you want your offense to be, where it's kind of top heavy, or do you want to see some more balance in that lineup?
We'd like to see a little bit more balance. Obviously, Vince and Landon have to carry a lot of the load scoring-wise for us. I think Jack Burchett is somebody that really, offensively can do more for us. And I think Tyler Sutton can do more for us. He's getting some good looks. They're just not falling for him, but I've seen him, he can knock down shot after shot in practice, and it just needs to carry over in the game. Jack's the same way. I think a big key for us is the way Jack plays. I think his energy level, his rebounding, his ability to score inside has to be at a high level from here on out the rest of the season. We can't have inconsistency from him, and then the other 3 guys that I've talked about, their level has to be the same. We can't have 4 points out of one of our guards and then the next night we have 24 out of them. So we really need that balance from all of them, and they're very capable of doing that.
And you mentioned that Stevens Point game a couple of minutes ago. That's the #1 team in the country. They're undefeated. And that team came into Myrna. You played them so tough. It was just a 2-point loss. And I really feel like even though you lost that game, it's kind of cliche to say it was a win in spirit, but it kind of was. The fact that, you kind of told the nation that we're still here. We're still a team that really you can't take advantage of. Did you feel the same way after that game?
Well, I did. I think that, we're that close. It's just, and I've said this before, that it's just a matter of continue to improve. And right now, our progress is not like I'd like it to, but, I don't know how much we've improved since Stevens Point. We may be taking a step back, and that's not the direction we want to go. Obviously, we want to continue to improve. We have to be successful in this conference. And, we've talked about that with our kids and the confidence level and all the little things that we have to do to be successful. Our identity, we have to have that identity of toughness, both inside and outside, and that's probably what we've lost a little bit this season, and we're trying to get back to that level.
But definitely the future looks bright, and I'm wishing you the best of luck the rest of the season. Thanks for stopping by.
All right, thank you, Jess.
Don't go anywhere. We're joined by some new blood and some old blood pushing the cards toward the CCIW tournament. Coming up after the break.
Today is Saturday. 60 minutes of physical activity a day and eating well can help get your child healthy. Get ideas, get involved, get going at letsmove.gov. That's letsmove.gov.
The Cardinal Report is back, joined now by senior guard Vince Kmiec and sophomore guard Tyler Sutton. Guys, thanks so much for stopping by.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
We spoke to Coach a little bit ago. Just talk about the season a little bit. I know the CCI schedule is always tough. You're kind of going through it for the first time, Tyler. Vince, you've gone through it many times. What's been like this season going through the early portions of the CCIW schedule?
I would say just the biggest thing is getting everybody playing with confidence day in and day out. Like you said, we got a lot of younger guys that are playing in years past, especially last year. We had pretty much all juniors, seniors playing. It's just good to get finally that Saturday or win on Saturday against Elmhurst, get guys' confidence up, and moving forward, it really helps.
I think it also helped, just for you personally. You were going through a little bit of a struggle in the CCIW schedule early on, but here you are against Elmhurst in essentially a must-win situation for your team. You dropped 24 points, you have a huge second half. What does that do for your confidence on a personal level?
Oh, it helps a lot, especially after struggling against Augie. They had a really good defensive game against me. I probably could have done a little bit more, but especially on Saturday, getting to the basket, trying to do other things besides just shooting the ball outside. Three-pointer's not always going to fall. So it was good for me to get to the free throw line. I think I shot about 10 free throws, so that was a real good turning point for me.
And Tyler, this is the first time you've gone through the gauntlet of CCIW play, and so far I think you've looked very good so far. 9 points a game for you on the season overall. What's been kind of your key on a personal level to try to succeed throughout this season so far?
Really just my part is really to come in and try and create a spark. Most teams in CCIW are taking away Landon and Vince and Jack, and then that just leaves me open. I just need to knock down shots, and when I'm in there, I need to play some great defense. Gotta lock down my guy, because if I give up, my guy scores some points, it's gonna affect really bad, and then it's gonna kind of bring the team down. And I just need to do what Coach asked me to do, and if I do that, our team will be on the rise, and hopefully we're making that way right now.
And so far, Coach has kind of tinkered here and there with lineups, with rotations throughout the season. And over the last week or so, or maybe a couple of weeks, you've found yourself in the starting lineup. What's that been like? As essentially a first-year player, as we were told by Coach, you didn't play much last year because of injury, so you're in there for the first time this year. Starting this year, what's that been like for you?
Early on, I came off the bench. I really liked that. Just again created another spark. Now they've moved me into the starting role, and that just to me, I had to elevate my game a lot more. Mm-hmm. Coming off the bench, I was, like 5 minutes into the game, I was well rested. Now I have to be more mentally prepared. Physically, I gotta bang with some bigger guys. I just gotta keep my guy in front of me, knock down some shots, and play with my teammates. I gotta make extra passes. I always gotta look for Vince and Landon. Those are top guys. Yeah. And hopefully, when I'm in there, we can we gel very great together and just come out with a W at the end of the day.
And Vince, you do a lot more than scoring. You're the all-time leader at North Central in steals. What is your key to kind of diving into those passing lanes? Is it kind of just instinctive? You're just doing it without thinking?
You know, that's a great question, actually, because I think that to myself all the time. I'm probably one of the most unathletic players you'll ever see lead the school in steals. But, yeah, I don't know. I guess just the way that I've anticipated or been able to anticipate passes and kind of just knowing what the other team wants to do, so knowing where they want to pass the ball really just gives me that step ahead of them as to where they're going to go with the ball. Yeah.
And over the last couple of years, we've seen the team kind of go through this situation where maybe out of conference you struggle a little bit, but once you hit that conference play, you know, you kind of take off. What's going to be the key for the team to do that same thing this season?
Yeah, our key is, I think, just to stay consistent and stay resilient against the teams that we're playing. You know, I was talking to the team, it was the exact same thing as sophomore year. We started off about 6-5 non-conference, and then we took off during conference season. And I think it's just good for us to keep an open mind and making sure that we're staying straight ahead on the goals that we've set, get in the conference tournament, win conference, win national championship, which is obviously the end goal for everybody. So.
North Central has been searching for the right rotations all season long. We talked to a few players about the shifting lineup in this week's What's the Word?
Right now, we're just trying to find our, like you said, trying to find our rhythm right now. Trying a couple of different things after we had the loss of Derek and Aaron. You know, we got to find a new mix, and that's pretty much what we're doing right now.
It shouldn't affect us too much. We still have the same core guys that are out there, you know, with Landon, Vince, Brandon, Pat, and myself. And, you know, guys like Kevin Hahn and Tyler Sutton and David Robinson have been playing bigger roles for us, and that's good. We need them to, you know, continue to step up for us. But at the same time, like I said, it's up to us as far as making sure we execute and get things done.
So Tyler, you come from a basketball family. Your dad Todd is the head coach at Neuqua Valley, and who does he coach in Neuqua Valley? Cardinal Report, who is the son of your head coach right now, Todd Raridon. So what's that been like? I mean, we see your dad at the games all the time at Myrna Fieldhouse, kind of cheering you on. What does that mean for you?
It means a lot, you know. My family and the Raridons have always been great family friends for years. You know, Derek, coach's middle son, played for my dad for many years, won him 2 sectional championships. So we've known him forever. And also it's just been great having my dad come to all my games, despite that he has his own season, has his own team, has a lot of commitments. But he's been actually every game. You know, he even came down to Orlando. He missed I think 3 or 4 practices of his own just to come watch me play. It's been a great deal. He tries to make everything he can. You know, he just missed. I think he missed the first half of the ELMHURST game coming from a basketball game, but he still made it. So it's just been pretty awesome. He's been to my games.
Yeah, it's been cool to see him in the stands. He usually sits in the same spot every single week. Vince, you mentioned that as a sophomore you went through that 6-5-ish start in non-conference, and you kind of zoomed off there into CCIW play. Now you get to teach guys that are younger than you are in a position where when you were a sophomore, the older guys were teaching you. What if you tried to impart on players like Tyler here?
Yeah, talking with Tyler and Kevin especially, both of those 2 guys, just trying to tell them what I've been through and what I know that I struggled with when I was going through that same struggle as a sophomore. And it's just, you just got to stay grinding. Coach is going to get on you. Coach is going to get down on you if you make some mistakes, but you can't let that get to you, and you can't let the other team get to you. You just got to make sure that you keep moving forward and getting better every day.
Well, Coach is certainly not one to mince words. Good luck the rest of the way. We've got a big week coming up for you guys, and appreciate you stopping by.
All right, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
We're out for this week. Be sure to tune in the same time next week as we continue our look into the winter season of NCC athletics on the Cardinal Report.